All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Pig and Pickle, check them out. Two locations, Corte Madera and Emeryville. They're open 7 days a week in Marin County. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. All right, let's talk a little bit about Brock Purdy. By now, you're pretty familiar with the fact that I'm a Brock Purdy fan and have been for a while. But if you're sitting there looking at this offseason going, you know what, I liked Brock Purdy, but man, why do the 49ers love Brock Purdy so much? Why is it that they are so all in on Brock Purdy and why is he over Trey Lance? Why is he over Sam Darnold? Why is he the clear number one quarterback in their eyes? Well, we're going to get to that in just a second. But let's talk a little bit about what Purdy did do this year. 13 touchdowns, 4 picks, threw for 1,374 yards, came off the bench against the Miami Dolphins December the 4th and threw for 210 yards. Kyle Shanahan trusted him to throw 37 times that day. He threw for 2 touchdowns. He had the 1 pick. He was sacked 3 times, and the Niners beat Miami 33-17. He would go on to start the rest of the regular season. The 49ers would not lose a single game the rest of the way. And they averaged 33 points a game during his starts. Against Tampa, he was 16 of 21, a 76% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, and they routed the Buccaneers 35-7. Then it was like, well, can he do it on the road? Can the Niners win in Seattle? We'll see if he can do it on the road against Seattle. What'd he do? 21-13 49ers. He was 17 of 26 that day, 217 yards, 65% completion percentage, a couple touchdowns, no interceptions, and was only sacked the 1 time. Then the next week, as we get to the game on Christmas Eve day against the Commanders, could he stand up to the Commanders and their incredibly tough defensive front? Well, the Niners put up 37 that day with Brock Purdy and won by 17, 37-20. Purdy completed 68% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, the 1 pick, was sacked 3 times, but the Niners got a 17-point win. Well, you know what? A lot of people are like, well, they've been leading all the time. Let's see what he looks like when he's coming from behind. Can he come from behind on the road, in that situation? How is it? What's he going to be like when everybody in the world knows he has to throw it? Well, they fell behind by 10 in Vegas on January 1st to the Raiders, and they came back, forced the overtime, and won it 37-34 in overtime. And in that game, he was 22 of 35, 2 more touchdowns, had the 1 pick. And the 49ers got a win on the road. And then, of course, the end of the year, he beat Arizona 38-13. He throwing for 3 touchdowns. At this point, he had his best statistical day where he had a 141.3 quarterback rating. The 3 touchdowns, 15 of 20, he completed 75% of his passes. All right, so then there were a lot of people who were like, well, yeah, that's great, but, let's see if he can do it in the playoffs. If he can't do it in the playoffs, then maybe he's not the guy. Well, fast forward, January 14th, at home against Seattle, Niners win it 41-23. Brock Purdy that day, 18 of 30 for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, only sacked the 1 time. And even ran it. 4 carries for 16 yards and a touchdown. This was his first playoff game, and the 49ers won by almost 20. Fast forward to the next game. Well, it's one thing to do it against Seattle. What will happen against Dallas? Against Dallas, they win 19-12, despite a pretty conservative offensive plan from Kyle Shanahan. Purdy was 19 of 29, 214 yards, still completed 65% of his passes. Didn't throw a touchdown pass, but didn't throw a pick. Was sacked 2 times by the Cowboys, exciting defensive front, which can put a lot of heat on the quarterback. But the Niners won the game. And then, of course, we know how it ended against Philadelphia. Brock Purdy in that game went 4 of 4 for 23 yards. But the key play was the Hassan Reddick sack and the elbow injury, which knocked Brock out of the game early. And the Eagles went on to a 31-7 rout. And technically, Brock Purdy's first loss in the NFL. So that's what he did. But there's still a lot of people going, yeah, but you traded all these draft capital for Trey Lance, and you haven't really found out what Trey's about. And if it seems like the 49ers like Brock Purdy more than you do, what are they seeing that you don't see? And let's get inside the numbers, because I think Brock Purdy, when you take a deeper look at these numbers, is just far better than most NFL fans realize. Let's go and use passer rating as the barometer, and let's look at his passer rating by situation in 2022, and this includes the playoffs and where it ranks in the NFL. And I think this is going to paint the picture of why Kyle and John and Jed are all in on Brock Purdy. All right, what did Brock Purdy do in situational football? And let's go right down the list. Play action pass. Play action pass this year, and including the playoffs, Brock Purdy had a 130.3 quarterback rating in when the Niners went play action pass. Where did that rank in the NFL? First. Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow, Allen, you pick your awesome quarterback. They all lined up behind Brock Purdy, first in the NFL on play action pass. All right, so he's good off the play action. How about in rhythm? It's another category. When he was in rhythm, 125.2 quarterback rating. Where does that rank in the NFL? First in the NFL over all other quarterbacks. First. What about when they use shifts, pre-snap shifting and motion? Shanahan's known for a lot of shifting, a lot of pre-snap motions. He had a 118.3 quarterback rating when there was shifting or motion, pre-snap motion. Where did that rank in the NFL? You want to guess? First in the NFL. Better than any other quarterback in the league. All right, but he's a small guy, and I'm really concerned about his ability to do it. It's one thing to find these guys these short crossers in front of him, these easy passes, these little ducks that Shanahan sets up for him. The real test of a quarterback is what does he do outside the numbers? Does he do it outside the numbers? Does he have the arm strength? Can he do it outside the numbers? Outside the numbers. Brock Purdy's quarterback rating in 2022, 112.9. Where did that rank in the NFL? First. Ahead of Mahomes, ahead of Allen, ahead of Burrow, ahead of Herbert. Do you see the picture? How about when you didn't blitz Brock Purdy, when nobody blitzed him? What kind of quarterback rating did he have then? 112.6. Where does that rank in the NFL? First in the NFL. So do you get the picture? First on play action, first when he's in rhythm, first on shifts and motions, first outside the numbers, first when they're not blitzing him. First. Not top 5, not top 10, first in the NFL. Two comments that I want to touch on here. At the Combine, they interviewed John Schneider, and when the 49ers came up, he was wowed by Brock Purdy and was impressed by Purdy. Eric DeCosta, one of the best GMs in the sport in my mind, the GM of the Baltimore Ravens, talking the other night on Path to the Draft, was talking about how the looking for a quarterback in the draft, it's not just a first round deal, and he cited Brock Purdy and how you can find a franchise quarterback in the 7th round. And cited the Niners finding Purdy and credited the Niners for the incredible scouting job that they did in landing Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant. The bottom line is the guys who do this for a living, the John Schneiders, the Eric DeCostas, they got great respect for Brock Purdy. In some ways, it sounds like those guys have more respect for Brock Purdy than a lot of the fans do, because it's like, Brock Purdy's this and that, but can he do this? Can he do that? But if you're sitting there going, why is it that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan love Brock Purdy? Well, I think there's another reason beyond the numbers. They need to win now. The 49ers measure themselves by championships, by the Lombardi trophies. When you got a Lombardi trophy case that has 5 Lombardis in it, guess what? You're not pointing to stats, and you're not pointing to regular season wins. You're not pointing to playoff wins. You're pointing as the true measuring stick to winning the Lombardi trophy. And in the mind of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy is the guy who's most ready to lead them to their 6th Lombardi. They also believe that if you can have Brock on that rookie deal as opposed to people suggesting Cousins or Rodgers or other veteran options, then you can re-sign Bosa and you can re-sign Ayuk and you can keep your core together. So they've made the conscious decision. They want to build their team around a quarterback on a rookie contract, and they want that quarterback to be ready to play right now, not in 3 years when Trent Williams is out of the league. Today. And they look at Brock Purdy as that guy. So if you're asking, though, the question, what does John see? What does Kyle see that I'm not seeing? They're seeing in Brock Purdy a guy who is the best quarterback in the NFL in several situations last year, according to quarterback rating. And that, more than anything, I think and a guy who's ready to lead them now. I think they love Trey Lance, and I think they got great belief in Trey Lance and what Lance is going to eventually become. But I think they also believe it's not going to be this year, or it's not going to be quick, that it's going to take some time. So that's why they're wed to Brock Purdy, because of how good he was, the fact that he stepped in and they didn't lose until the NFC Championship game, but also all those numbers in the NFL where he's not top 10, he's not top 5, he was first. So I think that the numbers within the game matter to them. They leave no stone unturned, and I think right there is the real reason that they think of Brock Purdy as great, and maybe you guys just think of Brock Purdy as pretty good. Hope you enjoyed our 49er video. Check out Pig in a Pickle. They've got 2 locations. They're in Emeryville, open 6 days or 5 days a week, Wednesday through Sunday, and check them out every day in Corte Madera from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. And thanks for supporting the Krueg Show on YouTube.